We're Robin and Steve. We left off in Anga at this wild waterfall, which spills off this vast rock platform with a dropping tide. It's rare for Steve to bring a camera, but this time he did, so let's enjoy the waterfall from his perspective. After some waterfall appreciation, we set off to check out the sights in the harbour. It's a giant lagoon, so we saw as much as we could on a relaxed kayak trip, including a turtle and a big fish. Lagoons within lagoons, too shallow for us to sail into, but accessible by kayak. And upon returning to our boat, we could see that a family of squid were congregating around our anchor chain. This happens quite a lot. Not sure what it is about anchor chains that squid like. The next morning we paddled to the other side of the lagoon. We could see that there was a wreck there, accessible at mid-tide. Other than that it was marked on the charts, we didn't know anything about this ship that stopped here and now rots. There's beauty in corrosion, so long as it's not on your boat. From the wreck, we decided to kayak the long way home via the horizontal waterfall so that we could check it out at a higher tide state. On the way from the waterfall back to the boat, we figured we'd kayak into an island, which offered a fresh new perspective of the world. We enjoyed this temporary backyard for a couple of days and made ourselves at home. But soon we moved on, not because we were sick of it here, but because there's a lot to see within this lagoon. Our next anchorage was a little further north, where there's a lagoon within a lagoon. We wove our way through the maze of islands. Our trip from Anga to Anga got a little bit bumpy. made it through the pass, we found a nice anchorage in the southern part of the Anga Cluster Lagoon. It was a relief to be pretty sheltered from what turned out to be a pretty rough sea, and there were no other boats in sight. We'd found ourselves in yet another pretty specky backyard. It was so calm that I could find a new place to practice handstands on the boat. Handstands with a view. Our anchor windlass switches have been playing up, so here's another instalment of fixing things in beautiful places. Fixing anything on a boat usually involves pulling apart our living space, in this case the V-berth. To celebrate the repairs, why not make pizza? With enough pawpaws to go round, we picked ourselves a couple. Delicious. I could even try some new things on my rope. And then we moved on to what we thought would be a rolly anchorage, but it couldn't have been nicer. This part of the Anga cluster is a booby colony. These birds have relatively short wings, resulting in a fast flap rate. And at up to 1 kilo, they're not small birds, and we felt for them as we watched their often inelegant landings. It was spectacular to kayak beneath the sheer cliffs and caves. Beneath the water, there wasn't much life, but here's some of what we saw. This must have been gorgeous at some stage. It reminded me of the dead underwater forests within the man-made lakes of Tasmania. What a beautiful laundry room. And bathroom. Okonomiyaki is our go-to meal when our vegetable stash is low. Dinner, a sunset, and bird watching. This was more birds than we'd seen in a long time. And there was the odd bat too. Not only were we low on vegetables, but it was nearly time for us to leave Fiji. We had one more stop on our way to Dinnerau, and this was to be an overnight passage. The ultimate mission being meeting some manta rays. But meanwhile, it was a lovely downwind sail. Here's another beautiful rotting thing. In the morning we jibed and wove our way through some reefs. It was a little bit rolly. While I was on watch, I turned the roll into an exercise challenge. But we had trouble sleeping on our off watches, for obvious reasons. I gave up and curled into a ball. It's nearing the end of our time here in Fiji, and our Fiji courtesy flag has seen better days. By now we had reefs on either side, and some considerable swells. But just round the corner, things calmed down, making the pass seem less daunting. Tragically, by now, not only were our vegetable stashes low, but some eggs we'd bought in for Anga were packed with noxious gases. Sad. We'd gotten quite used to floating the anchor chain, which turned out to work pretty well. More squid on the anchor chain. Why? I googled it, but I haven't found the answer yet. This video is already gone for nearly 10 minutes, so you can stop watching now. Or if you want to see some manta rays, carry on watching for the next 5 minutes. Count how many different individuals are shown, and know that next time we'll start with more manta rays and then sail from Fiji to Vanuatu. you.